Declan Doyle was a name thrown into the candidacy pool for the Philadelphia Eagles, but we're now hearing that he has withdrew his name from becoming the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles and will be returning to the Chicago Bears. We're going to talk about what that means for the team. Then we're going to give you the latest on today's episode about Al Harris. And there's a mock draft out there that has the Chicago Bears selecting a safety in round one. Y'all know we're going to talk about it, break it all down. But you gotta hear the music first. What's going on, Chicago Bears fans? Welcome back into another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears. Yes, you are getting me for today's daily episode, holding it down and filling in for Hayes. But hey, if you're tuned in, love talking Bears talk, especially now that we're in the offseason and we watched some football last night that probably had us ticked off because it had me ticked off. I said, man, the Bears could have been competing right now. I know I wasn't the only one. Man. But nonetheless, we move on. Let's flush it all out. Let's move on. But hey, we've heard some reports already, and that Declan Doyle will be making his return to the Chicago Bears. He was being considered for the Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator job, but elected to withdraw his name in that thing. Me personally, I think it's a good decision for him to go out there and return back with the Chicago Bears. Go with what you're familiar with and continue to grow under the tutelage of a guy like Ben Johnson. That is no shot at the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they have a good organization over there. But if you think and you really, really look between the leaves, you see that could be some smoke over there with the Philadelphia Eagles franchise. And Nick Sirianni, head coach over there, he's going through some of the things that, you know what I'm saying, that make some people pause and be like, hold on, what's really going on over here? How it's going to work with A.J. Brown and him being so vocal over this season before ultimately kind of quieting things down and letting people see for themselves what is really going on over there in Philly. So I say, hey, I respect Declan Doyle going out there and getting some interviewing experience, but I think it's a smart thing to go back to a culture that is still the foundation is laid, but let's go out there and see if you can get, some more experience under the tutelage of Ben Johnson and continue to help the Chicago Bears win. Because right now the situation in Philly, it look a bit shaky, and you don't necessarily want to jump ship from something that looks like it's going to be more on cruise control to something that could potentially have a little smoke over there. So I'm happy to have Declan Doyle back. What it means for me is that we could just continue to build this thing out. And I'm actually really, really excited about it. Me and C-Dub, we did the mailbag episode on Saturday, and we talked a lot about, hey, when you have some winning ways and you're winning, people are going to come out there and try to poach your coaches. If we looked at the last few years with the Philadelphia Eagles, they have, I think every year since Jalen Hurts has been in the league, they've had one of their coaches or both of their coaches, their coordinators, be poached from the team. So we got to expect that for the Chicago Bears if we want to have sustained success, because that's my ultimate goal. That's my one wish for, is sustained success in Chicago, because we deserve that. You all deserve that. But it's good that we're going to have Declan Doyle back so we can have some of that continuity. Now, another name that has come up for the Chicago Bears, and he's being lauded and being sought after, is Al Harris. Right now is nothing, saying that he's a lead candidate per se, but he has interviewed for teams like the Tennessee Titans. There is some type of speculation that now with the Pittsburgh Steelers signing Mike McCarthy, that Al Harris will be considered a candidate for the defensive coordinator spot in Pittsburgh, which ultimately, honestly, I think it'll be good for him. I'm not one to sit there and try to keep a guy down, and Ben Johnson is certainly not a guy that's like that. He wants his guys to go out there and continue to grow within their careers, and Al Harris is very deserving of that. We've seen a lot of our defensive backs go down all season long, and he was able to plug and play guys like Nashawn Wright, like McLeod, who was, maybe not the best all the time, but he was still able to come in and give you some really good minutes and stuff like that when necessary. So it's one of those things that you got to look at for Al Harris. And hey, we're gonna go ahead and rock with that. You know what I'm saying? So it's very, very important to me that we have him back here too. I'm hoping if he gets a job, I'm gonna be happy for him, but I'm gonna be 10 times more happier if he's able to stay. So that's something that we're gonna continue to watch out for. Maybe this is just one of those cycles that he has to look at, and he got to do what's best for him. So we'll see what's up with it. And y'all already know, man, if one of these guys, if Al Harris leave, I'll be definitely breaking that down, and we'll be talking about it. Somebody gonna come over here and cover it. But hey, let me know your thoughts and everything down below, and how y'all feeling about the two coordinator spots. You know, well, not the coordinator spots, but guys that are going to be on the team. One interesting thing that I'm thinking about is, who are the Chicago Bears going to hire as their running back coach? That's one thing I'm interested in, and I hope that, you know what I'm saying, that they find a guy that can go out there and get the best out of their running backs next year as well, like Eric Bieniemy did this season for us. So we'll see what's to it. But let me know your thoughts and everything down below. And if you have a running back coach that's out there that maybe that on your docket, on your head, let me know, and drop it down below so we could talk about that for sure. Now let's get into the draft. So NFL.com writer Daniel Jeremiah put together his first mock draft of the offseason, and I say it's a very interesting way to go about it. But with the 25th pick, Daniel Jeremiah has the Chicago Bears taking on safety out of Oregon, Dylan Finneman. Before I break it down and let you know what I've seen, just how do you feel before I break it down? The Chicago Bears, who need help in the trenches, selecting a safety with their first round pick. How does that sound to you all? Because when I seen it myself, before I went, I'm like, man, let me see who is this guy. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even contact Steve-O. Y'all know he's the Oregon fan here. That's a part of the family. I didn't even contact him to get his thoughts on it. I wanted to do my own research and due diligence. How do you guys feel though? Hearing that? I know it's somebody in the chat like, Pose can't do that. I know it's one of y'all in the chat, but Daniel Jeremiah's reasoning behind this is saying that the Bears figure to be in the safety market with contracts expiring for Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, and CJ Garner-Johnson. Finneman can play both safety spots and can cover in the slot if needed. So I looked at that and I said, let's turn on the tape. Let's look at the stats. I'll give you the stats before I tell you what my eyes told me. So this guy, he's coming out of Oregon in his third year. He started his career playing for the Purdue Boilermakers. Then last year, he entered the portal to where he ultimately ended up as an Oregon Duck. He is 6 feet, 205 pounds, 96 tackles, total tackles last year, 3.5 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 2 interceptions, 5 pass deflections. So I had to go back at the Boilermaker seasons. Prior to this season, 104 total tackles. Freshman year, 105 total tackles. So I had to go and because if you look at those tackle totals, you said, hold on, this man like to get busy, right? Turn on the tape, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not saying that the Chicago Bears should go in this direction, but it's an intriguing position to have. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm one of the guys that rather go with the best defensive tackle available at the first round pick spot, which is pick number 25. But I can't even lie to you. This is an intriguing player that should be discussed. When his time throughout Purdue onto Oregon, this man played free safety, strong safety, came down and helped in run support, And if you go through and watch certain things, he has range. I'm not saying he's this type of player, but some of those interceptions we seen Kevin Byard make, with him circling all over the field and closing gaps and closing the distance with having some range, it looked Kevin Byard-esque. I'm not saying he's that player, but the way that he was able to close distance for some of those interceptions throughout his tape, you are able to see, hey, this man got some range. Then you go further and you dive a little deeper. My man's love contact. That's one of my favorite things. Seeing defensive backs that aren't afraid to tackle, it's a skill. It's a skill. It's a mindset that has to take place with certain players when you break them all down and you look at everything. This man likes to hit people. I'm talking about running backs, quarterbacks, wide receivers, whatever. Some people like to compare it to a Harrison Smith up in Minnesota. I don't really like doing that. I like to just let guys carve out their own type of path, throughout that. But it's very, very interesting to see the Chicago Bears take a safety. I wouldn't do that. I'm going to make that clear. I will go defensive tackle, the best defensive tackle available. However, I can't even sit up here and lie, act like I'm going to be mad at the selection, because I think there's so many things that you have to figure out. But I also want people to remember, before the draft, there is a free agency period. So that the Bears can go out there and find them another defensive tackle. The Bears can go out there and find themselves another edge. And you can still ultimately go out there and reshape your defensive back room. Because we talked about it on yesterday's live. There's going to be some defensive backs that you got to part ways with, because my personal evaluation, my personal opinion, when we look at the season in totality, the Chicago Bears need speed at the linebacker spot and in the defensive backfield. We watched too many games to where Dennis Allen wanted to draw up the pressure and guys couldn't get home off corner blitzes, or guys were getting killed by the shallow cross or the slant right over the middle of the field, or guys weren't quick enough to make the play in the back end on certain plays. Not every play, but just certain plays. It does sound a little crazy, though, when you consider what the biggest need is. I have to ask you all, what is the biggest need in your personal opinion for the Chicago Bears? Is that the safety spot? Is that left tackle, now considering that Ozzie Trapillo will be down for a minute? Or do you trust the Chicago Bears to keep Theo Benedict and he cover until Ozzie is able to return? Is it defensive tackle? Because appreciate you, Big Bill, but it's time. We need more speed in the inside and the outside in a lot of areas. Is it edge? So let me know. What is your biggest need for the Chicago Bears' sake? Is it the safety, left tackle, defensive tackle, or edge? Because I'm one of the guys to where I don't, like, if we ranking this, I think safety is probably third for me. I will go D tackle, edge, and then safety. That's why I'm like, when it comes to this mock draft, though I like this player from what I've seen so far. Still want to get to see his speed. Is he going to be able to add that speed? It looks, he has good football speed. I'll give you that. But I still want to get through the combine. I still want to see how, his measurables and everything lined up. But I tell you what, I am impressed from what I saw early on as a former safety myself. If you scared to tackle as a safety, you won't last long in football games. That's just real. Like, for real. You won't last long. But hey, again, I think that'll be it. Is more options available for the Chicago Bears. But we all know they're going to put their best list together. And if teams start taking some of those players off of the list, they might go with a safety. Who knows? I wouldn't do it per se, but I'm going to trust the process, and I'm going to trust the guys that had a hell of a draft class last year. And what all we seen from the guys that we selected last year, it didn't make sense at the time for us. But as the season went on, we was like, hey, Ben Johnson, you was right for selecting Coastal Loveland. Hey, Ben Johnson, you was right for going out there and getting Luther Burden. Hey, Ben Johnson and Ryan Pose, we were the running back, bro. Then the 7th round come and y'all get Kyle Monanga. And we like, hold on, this is the leading rusher from Rutgers. How he end up in the 7th round? Huh? So we just got to trust the process, whether we like it or not. But I encourage you all to go check him out. Dylan Finneman. Check him out and let me know how y'all feeling about it, man. But hey, that is it for me today, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of Chicago Bears Central. Before you get up out of here, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well, man. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all, man. We about to get started to a great offseason, man. And as we always end every show, man, Chi-Town up and bet down. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.